it is possible to encounter a building with both two-phase 110 volts and single-phase 208 volt systems. This arrangement might exist if the building dates back to an era when two-phase systems were more prevalent. These different systems would likely serve distinct purposes, powering different types of equipment such as lighting or motors. When an existing electrical panel is rated for a specific amperage such as 175 amps, it is generally not possible to safely extract a significantly higher amperage, like 200 plus amps, without upgrading or replacing the panel. The panel's rating indicates its maximum capacity, and exceeding it can lead to overheating, fire hazards, and other electrical problems. The responsibility for ensuring adequate electrical service to a tenant often falls on the landlord. However, the specifics are determined by the lease agreement. It's important to carefully review the lease to understand the landlord's obligations regarding electrical infrastructure. When faced with insufficient electrical capacity, firstly, consider negotiating with the landlord. Discuss the need for increased electrical capacity and explore the possibility of the landlord covering the cost of upgrading the panel or sharing the expense. Secondly, explore alternative options to reduce electrical demand. This could involve using energy-efficient appliances, installing a solar panel system, or implementing other energy-saving measures to operate within the limits of the existing panel. Thirdly, if the landlord is unwilling to contribute and alternative options are not feasible, covering the cost of upgrading the panel may be necessary. This can be a significant expense, but it ensures the safe and reliable operation of the business. When dealing with electrical systems, especially in older buildings, several considerations are paramount. Firstly, safety must always be the top priority. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is essential to take precautions to avoid electric shock, fires, and other hazards. Secondly, compliance with electrical codes is crucial. Electrical codes are designed to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems, and it is important to adhere to them. Thirdly, proper planning is essential. Before making any changes to an electrical system, it is important to carefully plan the work and obtain any necessary permits. When dealing with electrical panels, it is important to understand their function and limitations. An electrical panel is a distribution point for electricity, and it contains circuit breakers that protect individual circuits from overloads. It is important to choose the right size panel for the application and to ensure that it is properly installed and maintained. When upgrading an electrical panel, several factors must be considered. Firstly, the size of the new panel must be adequate to meet the current and future electrical needs. Secondly, the new panel must be compatible with the existing electrical system. Thirdly, the new panel must be installed in accordance with electrical codes. When working with electrical wiring, it is important to use the correct size and type of wire for the application. The size of the wire must be adequate to carry the electrical current without overheating, and the type of wire must be suitable for the environment in which it will be used. It is also important to properly terminate the wires to ensure a safe and reliable connection. When installing electrical equipment, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. This will help to ensure that the equipment is installed correctly and that it operates safely. It is also important to regularly inspect electrical equipment for signs of wear and tear and to replace it if necessary. When troubleshooting electrical problems, it is important to start by identifying the symptoms of the problem. This will help to narrow down the possible causes of the problem. It is also important to use the proper tools and equipment for troubleshooting and to follow safety precautions. When working with electricity, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. An electrician can help to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly and that it complies with electrical codes. In the context of upgrading electrical service, several other factors are important to consider. Firstly, understanding the existing electrical infrastructure is crucial. This involves assessing the current service capacity, identifying any existing limitations, and determining the overall condition of the wiring and equipment. Secondly, accurately calculating the electrical load requirements of the new restaurant is essential. This includes accounting for all appliances, lighting, equipment, and other electrical devices that will be used. Thirdly, exploring different upgrade options is important. This could involve simply replacing the existing panel with a larger one, or it could involve upgrading the entire electrical service from the utility company. Fourthly, obtaining accurate cost estimates from qualified electrical contractors is necessary. This will help to budget for the project and to compare bids from different contractors. Fifthly, ensuring that the upgrade meets all applicable electrical codes and regulations is critical. This will help to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Sixthly, coordinating the upgrade with other building improvements is important. This will help to minimize disruption and to ensure that the upgrade is completed efficiently. Seventhly, considering the long-term electrical needs of the restaurant is essential. This will help to avoid the need for future upgrades. Eighthly, documenting all of the work that is performed is important. This will provide a record of the upgrade and will be helpful for future maintenance and repairs. Ninthly, obtaining all necessary permits and inspections is crucial. This will help to ensure that the upgrade is done safely and correctly. Tenthly, testing the upgraded electrical system is important to verify that it is working properly and that it meets all requirements. When evaluating the existing electrical service, several key factors should be considered. Firstly, the size of the service entrance conductors should be assessed. These conductors carry electricity from the utility company to the building's main electrical panel. Secondly, the capacity of the main electrical panel should be determined. This panel distributes electricity to the various circuits throughout the building. Thirdly, the condition of the wiring and equipment should be inspected. This includes looking for signs of damage, wear, or corrosion. Fourthly, the grounding system should be evaluated. A proper grounding system is essential for safety and helps to prevent electrical shock. Fifthly, any existing electrical code violations should be identified. These violations should be corrected to ensure the safety and compliance of the electrical system. When calculating the electrical load requirements of the new restaurant, several factors should be considered. Firstly, the power consumption of all appliances and equipment should be determined. This information is typically found on the appliance's nameplate. Secondly, the lighting load should be calculated. This includes accounting for all of the light fixtures in the restaurant. Thirdly, the receptacle load should be estimated. This includes accounting for all of the electrical outlets in the restaurant. Fourthly, the motor load should be calculated. This includes accounting for any motors that will be used in the restaurant. Fifthly, a safety factor should be added to the total load. This will help to ensure that the electrical system has enough capacity to handle the load. When exploring different upgrade options, several possibilities exist. Firstly, replacing the existing panel with a larger one is a common option. This is often the simplest and most cost-effective solution. Secondly, upgrading the service entrance conductors may be necessary. This will allow the electrical system to handle a larger load. Thirdly, installing a new transformer may be required. This will provide the correct voltage for the electrical system. Fourthly, adding a subpanel may be a good option. This will allow for more circuits and will help to distribute the load more evenly. When obtaining cost estimates from electrical contractors, several steps should be taken. Firstly, obtain multiple bids from different contractors. This will allow to compare prices and services. Secondly, check the contractor's qualifications and experience. Make sure that the contractor is licensed and insured. Thirdly, ask for references from previous clients. This will help to assess the contractor's reputation. Fourthly, carefully review the contract before signing it. Make sure that the contract includes all of the necessary details such as the scope of work, the price, and the payment terms. When ensuring compliance with electrical codes and regulations, several resources can be helpful. Firstly, the National Electrical Code, or NEC, is the primary source of electrical codes in the United States. This code is updated every 3 years. Secondly, local building codes may also apply. These codes may be more stringent than the NEC. Thirdly, the local utility company may have its own requirements. These requirements may relate to the type of equipment that can be used or the way that the electrical system must be installed. When coordinating the upgrade with other building improvements, several things should be considered. Firstly, the timing of the upgrade should be coordinated with other construction activities. This will help to minimize disruption. Secondly, the electrical upgrade should be integrated with other building systems. This includes the HVAC system, the plumbing system, and the fire alarm system. Thirdly, the aesthetic impact of the upgrade should be considered. The upgrade should be designed to blend in with the existing building. When considering the long-term electrical needs of the restaurant, several factors should be taken into account. Firstly, the potential for future expansion should be considered. The electrical system should be designed to handle any future increases in electrical load. Secondly, the energy efficiency of the electrical system should be considered. Energy-efficient equipment and practices can help to reduce the restaurant's energy bills. Thirdly, the maintenance requirements of the electrical system should be considered. The electrical system should be designed to be easy to maintain. When documenting all of the work that is performed, several steps should be taken. Firstly, keep a record of all of the materials that are used. This includes the type, size, and quantity of the materials. Secondly, keep a record of all of the work that is performed. This includes the date, time, and description of the work. Thirdly, keep a copy of all permits and inspections. This will provide a record of the approval of the work. When obtaining all necessary permits and inspections, several steps should be taken. Firstly, contact the local building department to determine what permits are required. Secondly, submit the required permit applications. Thirdly, schedule the required inspections. Fourthly, be prepared to answer questions from the inspectors. When testing the upgraded electrical system, several tests should be performed. Firstly, perform a voltage test to verify that the voltage is correct. Secondly, perform a continuity test to verify that the wiring is properly connected. Thirdly, perform a ground fault test to verify that the grounding system is working properly. Fourthly, perform a load test to verify that the electrical system can handle the load. In addition to these considerations, it is important to understand the specific voltage configurations that were mentioned. The presence of both two-phase 110 volts and single-phase 208 volts indicates an older electrical system that may have been installed when two-phase systems were more common. Two-phase systems typically consist of two alternating current voltages that are out of phase with each other. This configuration was often used to power motors and other heavy-duty equipment. Single-phase 208 volts is a common voltage for powering larger appliances and equipment, such as air conditioners and ovens. This voltage is typically derived from a three-phase power system. The combination of these two voltage systems in a single building can create challenges when upgrading the electrical service. It is important to carefully evaluate the existing wiring and equipment to ensure that it is compatible with the new electrical system. It may be necessary to replace some of the existing wiring and equipment to ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. When upgrading the electrical service, it is also important to consider the impact on other building systems. For example, the upgrade may require changes to the building's grounding system or to the fire alarm system. It is important to coordinate the upgrade with other building improvements to minimize disruption and to ensure that the upgrade is completed efficiently. Finally, it is important to remember that electrical work can be dangerous. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician before making any changes to an electrical system. An electrician can help to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly and that it complies with electrical codes. The landlord's responsibility for electrical upgrades is often a point of negotiation. The lease agreement should clearly define who is responsible for maintaining and upgrading the electrical system. In some cases, the landlord may be responsible for all electrical upgrades, while in other cases, the tenant may be responsible. It is important to carefully review the lease agreement to understand the landlord's obligations. If the lease agreement is unclear, it may be necessary to negotiate with the landlord to determine who will be responsible for the electrical upgrade. If the landlord is unwilling to contribute to the cost of the upgrade, the tenant may have to cover the cost themselves. In this case, it is important to get multiple bids from qualified electrical contractors to ensure that the upgrade is done at a reasonable price. It is also important to carefully review the contract before signing it to ensure that all of the necessary details are included.